Hello and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me here. At the outset today, I just want to state that this series of videos is for all experience levels. Whether you're brand new to A Course in Miracles or whether you would consider yourself a seasoned veteran, having done this for decades, as many of you have. Now, you may also be just checking this out and wondering what this Course in Miracles thing is all about anyway. And you may be wondering, why was I directed to this video series out of all of the channels that exist on YouTube? Well, I don't know the exact answer to that, but your inner teacher does. So I invite you, no matter where you happen to appear on this spectrum of beginner, just checking this out, seasoned, highly seasoned, as in 30 years plus of studying and practicing this material. Wherever you are on that, there's a message for you, so I welcome you. So, why am I saying this at the outset? Because today we're going to have a dialogue about the importance of asking, and we're also going to say a few words about what it's really like to study and practice this course, what it really involves. The specific location that our discussion is based on is chapter 11, section 8 of the text. Today, paragraphs 5 through 8, if you wish to read along, and I invite you to do just that. There is a comment right at the beginning of paragraph 5 here that applies to all of us, and it applies to our study and practice of this material, where we're prone to complain that this course is not specific enough. It doesn't tell us what to do, but it does. But we're prone in our highly conditioned state of mind here in the world to think that it's not telling us enough, that it's vague. Well, it's not vague. The issue is our conditioning and our inherent need to complicate everything. When you allow yourself to think about it, we do this in all aspects of our lives to the point where we suffer and we struggle and we appear to find ourselves overwhelmed by what passes for reality. Well, welcome to A Course in Miracles. It's not our reality. We're told here that when we ask, we receive. If you ask, you will receive. Nothing could be more specific than that. You get precisely what you ask for. One of the questions for us, indeed the question, is who are you asking? Are you asking our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit? Are you asking Jesus? Or are you asking the ego? This false sense of individual self. The teacher that you ask will definitely give you a response. So Which teacher are you approaching for guidance? Each of us is invited moment to moment, day to day, all the time, to ask that question and to ask of the teacher that will show us the way to set aside all of our suffering, which is deep down what we all want. We want the peace of God. Here in the world, we may want more money, of course, no problem. Right? We may want a meal, or we may want to go to the gym and exercise. We may want to take a walk around the block. We may want this horrid sales meeting if you're watching this during a sales meeting. Perfectly okay, right? If you want that boring sales meeting to end, please. Whatever, wherever you appear to find yourselves. This course is all about practical application. It's not about theory. It's not about that. So, especially if you're just starting out, or even if you've been doing this for a long time, if you read this and it seems confounding and you don't get it, no problem. It's not about that. It's about practical application. So, here on this series of videos, my directive from our inner teacher is to present this material as simply as possible, which is what he tries to do. It's what Jesus does. We just don't want to listen most of the time because we think things have to be so complicated, and we attempt in our conditioning, our pervasive indoctrination, which is what it is, our conditioning. We attempt to understand everything with the intellectual thinking mind that divides. The intellectual thinking mind is like a razor, it's like a scalpel, a sharp scalpel, oftentimes, an obsidian blade that slices right through and divides and cuts even further, deeper, dividing and subdividing what passes for our reality into multiple component parts and subparts, categories and subcategories, further separation, further division. This mind is not the mind that we need to garner the experience of these teachings. Is it valuable to understand this intellectually? Well, yes, it is. However, what's much, and I do mean much, more important is practical experience. This is a course in practical application. This is really, truly how we learn. We may get this, all of these metaphysics, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, with the intellectual thinking mind. Here's what you need to get with the intellectual thinking mind. God is. To state it in more words, because we need this as adult learners, we all do, only God is. All else is illusion. And another sentence, if you take nothing from this or any discussion that you ever see or hear me give, there is no separation of any kind. There are no categories nor subcategories, divisions nor subdivisions, no separation. You're not separate from your brother, and you're not separate from God. God is. Only God is. So that is a simple message. We add the complications. We add the complications, and then we go on to ask many questions to which there's no answer. Like, when did this separation occur? How long ago and at what point? And why were we running amok at this party of love and decided to leave and go off and hide inside this rather frail shell? Because it doesn't last, of course. When did this happen and why? Well, it didn't. That question will baffle us. When did this happen? It never happened. That's the answer. It's simple, but we find our intellectual, so called rational, highly trained, scalpel like, razor like thinking mind that doesn't want to accept that. That is our work here in terms of practical application is accepting truth just as it is and not wishing to go off and mold it into our own individual likings, our own particularities and proclivities, not dividing it and subdividing it. In other words, not telling God what to do. I mean, if it helps to put it that way, let's put it that way, right? Not bossing him around and attempting to manipulate and control and have things just a certain way. We allow truth to be just as it is, which is why that statement is repeated throughout these videos. It seems like I say it every time. There's very good reason for that. This is about practical application. So why is this so important? It's because this is really how we learn, through our doing it. This course is learned through putting it into practice. It is concerned with practical application, with forgiving, with extending love to the Son of God, with doing it. This is how we learn. How do we learn that way? Our experience, when we do it, our experience shows us. That is what teaches us that these ideas are true. Our experience proves the truth of these ideas to us. What do we supply here? The willingness to do it and doing it. Oh, and being honest with ourselves that we're actually doing it and not just kind of playing around. As we all do this in many arenas in life, we kind of dance around and we dabble. When you're ready to stop dabbling, the Holy Spirit is patiently waiting to guide you. The Holy Spirit waits, doesn't force. We could run and hide, and we could deny truth as much as we want to. It's our choice, isn't it? But when we're ready, the Holy Spirit's always there. The Holy Spirit's part of our mind. Yeah, it's not a foreign nor an outside power. So there's no need to be afraid to appeal to our inner teacher for guidance. On these series of videos, the Holy Spirit can be referenced by many things, and it is in A Course in Miracles. I've used the term inner teacher throughout this series to emphasize that the Holy Spirit is you, part of our mind. So let's talk about asking and why is that so important? Because if we ask, we receive. So who are you asking? And what are you asking for? Do you want the peace of God and nothing else? Do you want guidance in forgiveness of the Son of God? Do you want guidance in extending love to the Son of God? And the Holy Spirit understands us. The Holy Spirit understands what's referred to in this course as the prayer of the heart, so what we really need. The Holy Spirit knows our needs here in the world, like money, like food, clothing, that sort of thing. What we're challenged with is relaxing and trusting in the guidance of our inner teacher. We tend to equate asking with deprivation. So if we ask for the peace of God, we're afraid that we're going to go completely broke and end up on the street and sick or worse. Right? We equate asking with deprivation. In fact, asking is not deprivation, it's sharing. Why is it sharing? We're asking, when we ask our inner teacher, we're asking ourselves. It's shared. We're asking of our own mind. We think that asking, furthermore, is taking. This is the way we see things in the world. When we ask somebody for something, they're out that something if they give it to us in the eyes of the world. Holy Spirit sees it completely differently, no surprise. This course is completely different from the way we've all been conditioned by our parents, by schools, by societies, by advertising, by political systems, and so on and so forth. This course is 180 degrees different, and its purpose is to bring about a perceptual 180 to help you change the way you see everything, the world, yourself, everyone that appears in it, all completely recast and, well, reimagined. In other words, we learn to see things as they are, rather than the way that we've made them, as they really truly are. And there is no separation, period. Jesus tells us here that he will not deceive us. And deep in our heart, in our core, or whatever you want to call it, we know deep down that this is true, that he will not deceive us. But moment to moment, do you believe that? Do you believe that the kingdom of heaven is within you? It is. And we all have had glimpses of this, or we would not appear to be here watching this video, interested in spirituality in any way. We wouldn't wish to spend our time doing this because there's a lot of other content out there. I mean, there are a lot of things we can do in the world on YouTube alone, much less putting our phones or our devices down and going out and experiencing life outside of this pixelated image on your screen. There's a lot we can do, but here you are. For very good reason, asking our inner teacher's guidance is not depriving ourselves of anything. We have to be willing to ask and then to relax and trust that our inner teacher will guide us. What will this guidance look like? How will it appear? That is going to vary for each and every one of us. Our inner teacher knows what our situation in life is, and our inner teacher knows how you can best reach people. This that you're looking at right here is my own personal directive. Turn on camera and microphone and share this course in particular, not just any tradition, this course. So that's what this series of videos is about. Your directive may look completely different, vastly. Not everyone is instructed to turn on a camera and microphone and broadcast to a global audience. Your instruction may look very different depending on your station in life and the people that you're to reach. How will you know? Ask. You'll be told. You'll be instructed. This may come in the form of an intuitive hit. It may come in the form of a deep inner knowing. It doesn't necessarily have to be an audible voice in a language that you understand. This can be a feeling or an idea, a thought that simply enters your mind with crystal clarity. It could be something that you hear someone else say, for example. It could be something that you read in a book or that you see when you're outside or inside. Something could remind you of something. There are many ways that the Holy Spirit reaches us. What we can supply is the willingness to listen. In other words, the present moment awareness. Because if we're unaware of everything, how can we be expected to do anything about it? So the purpose of these videos is to go through this course and to help you raise these ideas to conscious awareness. There is no separation of any kind. Ask and you will receive. Along the way, questions are most certainly welcome. I mean, they are. How can they not be, really? Spirituality is a process of deep inner inquiry. I mean, it always has been, always will be. And this is what it involves, is questioning. So I invite you to ask questions if you have them. Comments are also more than welcome right here on YouTube. We've had a number of really wonderful questions asked here, and it can be about this course or your spiritual practice in general. Whatever that may look like for you, you're welcome to ask questions here, and I hope that you feel welcome to do so. If you have not yet subscribed and joined us, we'd love to have you join here. This arrow in the corner of your screen is the prompt to do just that when you click or over, hover. I like that. I did that the other day. Isn't that fun? Yeah, when you click or hover over that icon, you'll be prompted to subscribe and join us. And I hope that you do that. This is a growing international community, and the more, the merrier. If you have friends that may be interested in this, feel welcome to share the link to the channel with them. All right. So, above all else, I thank you for your dedication and your commitment to spiritual practice. I often say this too, if you've never tuned in before, that is the highest and best offering that you could ever make anyone, anywhere, anytime. And there is no close second, not even. All right. So I thank you for that and for tuning in. I will see you all very soon.